Jaden Show, and here's your host, Jaden Cornelius. Happy Sunday, lovely people. Welcome to the Jaden Show. I hope you've had a wonderful week and everything is going great for you. I've had a lovely week and I will continue to keep having lovely weeks because every Sunday I get to meet wonderful people and they come and chat to me on my show. And this Sunday is no different because I am, in a minute, going all the way to Bonnie, Scotland to meet Nunny Boy, writer, producer and musician. The boy has done so much stuff and he's super, super, super lovely. You're going to love the interview. You're going to really love meeting him as well. But before we meet him, let's go and check out one of his songs. This is called Cali Line.
I'm the staggering drunk, I'm the useless punk, I'm everything I need to be. Light rain is misting, I'm pissed again. Don't twist it, post it missing where you can't see. I walk the Cali line, I pause, sing under the bridge. I walk the old Cali line, I pause, sing under the bridge. Your breath it surrounds me, confounds me to live or die. Your breath it confounds me, surrounds me to live and try. There's no try, I'm only doing, pursuing you and I walk the Cali line, I pause, sing under the bridge. I walk the old Cali line, I pause, sing under the bridge. The staggering drunk, the useless punk, I'm everything I need to be. Light rain is misting, I'm pissed again. Don't twist it, post it missing where you can't see. I walk the Cali line, I pause, sing under the bridge. I walk the old Cali line, I pause, sing under the bridge.
Let's go and meet this week's super special guest, the amazing Nunny Boy. Nunny, welcome to the Jaden Show. How you doing in Bonnie, Scotland, dude?
I'm doing good. Aye, it's an absolute pleasure to be here.
No, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. And you, from one of my favourite places in the world. Is it bloody cold where you are at the moment?
Usual, wet and windy.
Oh, really?
Aye, it's actually not too bad temperature-wise, but very wet and windy.
I kind of miss a bit of wet and windy, to be fair, I've got to be honest. It does sound beautiful. So tell us a little bit about your background, because obviously you are a producer, musician, you're a remixer, you know. How long have you been doing this line of work, and when did you first find that passion for it?
Basically, it would have been round about early 90s. So 1993. It's pretty much a young kid, quit school to be in a band. The usual, you know, we're going to be in a rock and roll band. 2 weeks later, band was over. It was finished. But somebody locally had approached me. They knew I could do a bit of stuff with computers, and they asked me basically about sampling. If they gave me a record, could I loop it and make that, you know, make like a break last longer? And I'd never tried it, and I thought, I suppose I could. So I started kind of getting into looping and sampling, and from there get heavily involved in the hip hop scene. And so very early 90s, right up till about 2006, that was my kind of main bag, was doing hip hop, playing all over the UK. We've done fantastic with it. Released 3 albums. One of our singles we actually got a record deal on. Performed with some of the biggest artists that we absolutely worshipped. So it was like living the dream, if you like. A lot of hard work, and you kind of know all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes, and a lot of hard graft, you know. But I kind of started off as that. I started brushing up my skills as a producer, because recording hip hop in comparison to recording, for instance, a traditional live band is completely different. It's a different skill set. I was used to working with a lot of rappers and DJs and other producers, but I wanted to really get into the production side and the kind of engineering side, which eventually did. And just for circumstances, I spent a lot of time. I lived in England for a lot of time before moving up to Scotland. So I was working with a lot of bands in the sort of north of England, Lancaster area, and the music scene there was phenomenal. So using different studios and working with different bands, that's kind of how I learned to sort of basically produce music. It's all self-taught. There was no instruction manuals, and nobody to sort of
and there was no YouTube tutorials either back in the day, was there? Nothing.
No, there was nothing like that. Even something that's funny, just what I was saying about the hard graft. Our band actually had a website before Tesco did. I mean, that's how we thought we were flying high. You know, it's like having a .com before Tesco.
Dear man,
just silly things like that. You know. Got to play some fabulous venues, like the Cavern in Liverpool, for example. Absolutely phenomenal. Corn Exchange in Edinburgh. All these well-known venues, and really, really cool. That would bring us up to about 2006. The hip hop side of things, we always said 3 albums. That's it. It's finished. It's over. Still carried on making bits and pieces of music for people, and then I took a break from music around about 2013. Just life circumstances. I'd lost my mother at the time, and I just thought it's time. I thought that was it. My career's over with music and stuff. It's kind of time to focus on something different.
Wow.
And I needed something to channel my energy into. I was lost at the time, and of all things, I ended up in the army. I needed some sort of career, something to kind of focus on. And during my time in the army, you always have people come out the woodwork. Oh, could you do this track? Could you help me with this? Help me with that? So I was doing small bits and pieces, but nothing. You know, it's like 2 or 3 tunes a year. Nothing spectacular. And then it was just by chance. Finishing up with the army, I'd moved into the fire service, and the BBC would get back in touch with us. There was a doc to do with hip hop in Scotland, so it was like getting the whole crew back together, and we filmed for it and went up and went to a private screening and everything. And it just kind of, around about that time, different things happening kind of ignited something again for me. And I started kind of digging out stuff projects I had started but never really done anything with. And then just we're going to different gigs and stuff. I actually get the chance. I don't know if you remember Wendy James from Transvision Vamp.
Yes, of course.
Right. Well, here you go. This is how small a world it is. So I'd spoke to her a couple of times on Twitter and stuff. She sort of relaunched her career, and one of the gigs she was playing was up in Kilmarnock, which is it's like a 20-minute drive from here. So got to meet Wendy. It was like a lifetime dream. You know, I've listened to her music since I was a kid. Absolutely lovely, really nice to meet. And talking away to her, and when she came back, she kept in touch, emails and stuff. And when she came back to play Glasgow, I went up, got to meet her, got talking. And by this point, I'd remembered some of these stuff, like some of these tracks I'd worked on years ago, came across them on an old computer. And one of them was one of her tracks I'd remixed.
Wow,
just as a sideline project. So I told her about it, but I'd also, in the meantime, found a B-side and remixed that. So I said to her, I was listening, because I've got these songs, I've let a few people hear them, they absolutely love it. What would you think about if I was to release this on vinyl? I go, no, I thought it'd be shot down, you know, a pipe dream. And she just turned around and said, do it.
Wow, sweet.
And it was like, I'm like, oh my God, would you even do it? She's like, go for it. If you want to do it, go for it. So I did. In fact, there you are. That's it there.
Wow.
One of the few copies that still exist. These are actually on eBay. There's people selling them for 150 quid. It's mental.
Oh, man.
They're like super limited. I mean, there's mainly done for friends and family and a couple of radio stations, but how people get their hands on it and then you find them online years later, get crazy money as well.
Yeah.
But that kind of, between that happening and then we put together our band Valdo, which we'd started that as a project in 2003.
Okay.
And I was doing a lot of hip hop stuff. The main vocalist, Kyle, it was just a project, an idea he had, and we smashed it out in literally a couple of weeks, and it was brilliant. And it was one album that I always kept going back to and listening back to. And then when we got back in touch, it says, "Do you think we could have a bash at maybe recording a song or two again?" And I thought I would love to. So, and that was November 2019, and typical Kyle, he can turn up with a bag full of lyrics. He's got so many good ideas.
Wow.
So I started putting together a few tunes, a few ideas for him. Next thing, we've got 2 or 3 songs. And then before we know it, we're working on an album. And it just snowballed. It just absolutely snowballed. As we're working on the songs, we're starting to pull in different people, extra vocalists, like Amanda Loring joined the band. Then later on with Jimmy Skiffle as a guitarist join us, and it's snowballed out of control, and it's been great. It's just been an absolute blast.
How did you all meet originally?
Well, kind of back when we were kids, before the music, I knew Kyle, I knew Jimmy Skiffle just from being kids skateboarding.
Okay.
Kind of been into all that kind of stuff. And as we grew up and I was doing my music stuff, the hip hop stuff, they would turn up to gigs, and we kind of always hung about and kept in touch. And same with Amanda, she's actually my wife. It's not a big kept secret, but there's a lot of people are quite stunned. Like, all right, I didn't know that. So she's worked in a lot of projects with us. Normally, it's just I'll say to her, I need a backing vocalist for such and such a track. Can you give it a try? And if it works, it works. And it just became, rather than being a bit of a backing vocalist, it's like, well, try singing a bit of lead on this and get more involved. Get
Sweet.
You must have ideas. You must have songs you want to write, and as things have happened, just the way things develop, it's just been a natural progression as such. During all this time, you're saying about remixing. Now, some of the bands that I'd met when I was living down in the north of England, there's a band called The Lovely Eggs. They dropped an album when the COVID pandemic started and actually got to #1.
Wow.
I'd remixed one of their tracks. I I know Holly and Dave from living down there, and I'd remixed one of their songs as a drum and bass track, and they absolutely loved it. So when they dropped their album, they were doing a session on BBC Radio 1, and it says, do you fancy doing us a couple of remixes? We're doing a kind of takeover, like half-hour show. I was like, I'd love to. I was like, what's the timeline? And like, well, it's about 2 weeks away. So I says, right, send me the files that I need. And in the meantime, listening to your new album, I'll kind of come up with a few ideas. And so I remixed 2 of their tracks, and we ended up with my 3 remixes getting played on Radio 1 for their show, which totally blew me away, because at the time, I had no music gear set up at all. It was literally every single thing I was doing was done on a crusty old laptop that was my neighbour. You know, it was just mind-boggling. Like, I'm sitting listening to Radio 1,
and you can hear your track
in the morning, and it's like, wow. And it was a shock to me. I thought it was going to be one song. I didn't know there was 3 remixes.
Super cool.
You know, so it was things like that was absolutely mental. And I've met up with quite a few different artists, and I've had the likes of boy Chris McConville. I don't know if it will show well. He brought out this album.
Okay.
He's a Scottish guy. Lives down in London, and by chance, I'd met him when I was down in London, and we just spoke about the chance of doing a remix. So he sent me the studio files, and it was one of them. I think it's the fastest remix I've ever done, as in not the tempo of the song, just how quickly I turned this song about. It was like starting at a Friday morning, and by Friday night, I was sending them the finished track.
Wow.
It was just, these vocals are just so on point, and I just had this vision for what I wanted to do.
Yeah, so you must have been vibing on it to get it done that quick.
Totally. And then I've had other people kind of collaborating sort of worldwide, if you like, with the joy of the internet and stuff. We've got a brilliant, really, really talented rapper from Nigeria, a boy called Eriwan, and we've done a track.
Is that We Like to Party?
Yep.
Yeah, we're playing that at the end of the show. Actually, it's a great tune. Great,
brilliant. Well, we've done an album, so that was the album we done. We Like to Parties on the physical copy. On the streaming services, it'll just show up as a separate track, as a single. It was a great collaboration, and working with him, this guy can turn stuff about so quick. I could send him a beat tonight, and tomorrow I'll have recorded lyrics, you know, and he's totally fire, totally on point, and I like working with people like that.
And is he releasing? Does he live in Nigeria? Is he releasing music in Nigeria?
Yeah, he's doing fantastic. He's won quite a few awards and stuff. It's just the vibe you get from him is brilliant, absolutely fantastic. We had a couple of guest producers we brought in as well, which was really nice, and kind of changed the sound up as well. And so guys from America, guys from Sweden, it's absolutely fantastic. We've got a really talented vocalist, Sapphire, featured on this album, who she's one of these artists, you hear the voice and you're just like, my God, she must be in some huge label or something. And no, she's just quite happy with herself.
Right.
And she's fantastic. She's so good.
I'm going to have to check her out, man. Definitely.
Definitely.
So it's been a bit of a journey, and kind of, I had a bit of a hiatus after kind of in the 90s doing my.
I was checking out some of your stuff.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. And then I kind of, like you, I thought, no, I'm done, man. I just can't do that. And it's like a possession almost. Like, it wouldn't even have been my career of choice, but I loved it, and I couldn't not. I didn't like it, but there was nothing else I thought was meant to be for me, you know. And I took a 7-year break, and it was probably one of the worst 7 years of my life, because it was like always niggling at me and eating me, like, until I got. And then someone literally said, "Oh, could you do some backing vocals on this track, or could you?" No, I think I had to do a guide vocal. They wanted to send it out to a boy band, and they said, "Would you come and do like a guide vocal on this demo?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll do it." And I was like, oh, I'm back in the studio now, and I really miss it. Didn't want to miss it. I really wanted to hate it again. And that was it. And then from then onwards, I was like, oh, I come and do all your vocal sessions. Then I'm, working with other writers and stuff, and it was amazing.
Aye.
And I'm still
I seen stuff. It was like MTV videos and stuff like that you were featured on, and I was checking out a few things, and it was like, my God, man, and I'd said to my sister about doing this, and when I mentioned that it was Beyond, was the band, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Aye. And my sister's like, oh, I know that name, and so I pulled up my phone and showed her and stuff. So that was pretty cool. Another thing, I'm kind of jumping about here.
I'll jump away.
Some of the stuff I'd done earlier, when I was doing the hip hop stuff, I'd been dragged into a studio. It was guys that were running quite a big kind of indie label, and they kept wanting to buy a lot of the stuff that I was doing for the rap group All Time High, but I had to explain to them, these are our songs. You can't buy the instrumentals. And back then, it was good. It would have been good money for them. It's a lot. I see people selling, oh, I'll sell you beats. And then, so I went into the studio and they says, we're looking for a specific sound. That's why we've got you here. And it was a lot of kind of secrecy about it. And then I thought, fine, turned up, usual, drag all your equipment in the car, turned up at this amazing setup, really, really cool private studio. And then when I got the vocal track sent to us, only to find out it was Rosie Gaines, Prince's backing singer. I was like, oh my God.
I remember her song Closer Than Close. Fucking amazing tune.
And then she's on the telephone and you're talking landlines, you know what I mean? This isn't the 90s. Yeah. She's on the telephone hearing this track, and it's getting played for the monitors and that, you know what I mean? Down a phone, and I can hear her absolutely screaming, she loves it, and all this, and I was blown away. It was one of them, it's like, is this a wind-up? Is this really Rosie Gaines?
Wow, man.
But it's just one of the kind of strange things, but to my knowledge, the track didn't get released in the end up.
Oh, really?
I get paid for doing the song. I'd done my part as a producer. To this day, I've never came across it online or anything. So,
wow.
But
it was amazing. It was the 90s. The 90s were amazing times. Like, it was, if you got anywhere, it was years of fucking intense work, even before you got a foot in. Like now, you can just wear a pair of swimming trunks with a semi on TikTok and you can get a record deal. I mean, it's that. I mean, I'm not saying it's easy, but it is a lot more accessible now. Whereas back in the day, I remember speaking to, I was Simon Cowell's first ever, I think I was his very first ever TV show, and I was Blue Peter's first ever mini docu series. Like, it was about how to become a pop star with Jaden. And we went and met Simon when he was an A&R guy at Arista. And even he said to me at the time, he was like, I think it was something over 200,000 people a year try and get a record deal. I mean, he had bags of demos, everyone putting as many flowers and pretty colours on the envelope to be noticed as possible. And he said less than 200 people a year get one. So, back in then you had to have something, whereas now really, I mean, it just goes to show. I released a reggaeton track because now I just like lovely people and good music that makes me vibe, and I'm kind of up for anything now. Like, I was pop, then pop R&B, then classical and classical crossover. Now I'm just Jaden, and I will do a reggae or a rock or a pop or an opera, and I can pretty much do everything and still be true to Jaden. But I'd done this track and 2 record companies were interested, one in the States and one in Spain. They went, you haven't got enough YouTube followers, mate. I was like, so now it's completely based on how many YouTube. They went, yeah, sorry, dude. We're like, raw, man. Crazy. I'm like, well, invest in it and maybe I'll get a few more. Nah, man, you've got to come with the followers now. It's like crazy. Times have changed from the reel to reel tracks at bloody Abbey Road to, not enough likes on your Facebook.
I've actually got a real sat in here.
Really? You're the man. You're
all the old tech.
I remember just watching the hours of cutting and sellotaping, slicing and sellotaping. That was a fun day, dude. Sundays. So where do you see your future? Are you kind of, do you sing as well, or are you musician, producer, remixer, or do you actually vocal anything?
For some stuff I will, because it's only recently we've been trying to. When we first done the Voldo stuff, there was no intention of doing it live. It was just like a project for recording, a bit of fun.
Yeah.
And that's when I came back into music, I had no idea what Spotify was, and people are like, "Oh, you need to put it in streaming platforms." I'm like, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
I was just glad to be recording a bit of music. But then I started looking at it and I thought, all right, fine. Started putting it out and you're like, wow, you've got an audience everywhere. So the more we were kind of recording stuff, it was like, right, we need to get our finger out and actually, if you want to do a few live gigs or anything, some of the material we couldn't do live.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought, well, try the sort of new album we'd done. I thought, let's see how much of it we can actually perform live. Because the new album, it's took a bigger kind of turn musically with bringing a guitarist in.
Okay.
And I've been in other bands with Jimmy Skiffle before. Typical, if you want a cover band, going around all the pubs and clubs. And the boy's absolutely an amazing guitarist. So we've been trying to kind of work out what material we can do live, which is that's been a steep learning curve. Because normally speaking, I'm normally left to doing the music, and for live, there's a lot of stuff I've got to do if you want DJ wise. Beats and samples, that kind of thing. But for some of the songs, I realised it's like, well, right, in the studio version, we've maybe got Kyle to back his own voice, but for live, I'll need to back him. Somebody else needs to back him, kind of thing. So,
and are you comfortable with that, or is it a little bit out of your comfort zone?
No, I'm absolutely fine with it.
Oh, sweet, cool, man.
I'm by no means a singer, but for some of the songs and some of the backing it needs, you don't really need to be that much of a singer.
Hey, for the majority of leads, you don't need to be anymore either, to be fair. We've seen that, on many Top of the Pops and MTVs. But no, that's amazing, man. So what have you got plans? Is like Voldo, is that gonna is it gonna completely change and you're gonna bring in different artists, different musicians, different flavors, or are you going to be sticking with what works? Don't fix it if it's broken kind of thing, and seeing what happens.
We've kind of got the core of it. We'd looked at bringing in a couple more musicians for the live side, likes of a drummer and a bass player.
Okay.
But myself and Jimmy, we were practicing some of the stuff. He just dropped it on me. Goes, right, you go on the bass. You done all the bass lines for this, so try it live and see how you get on, which is fine, but it then pulls me away from the decks. Right. So if I went in bass, we need to replace myself with a different DJ and stuff.
Yeah.
So, but the more people you get involved, it's like helping kittens. It can get harder. But we've been trying it as the four of us for live, and it's been so far so good. And we're kind of just kind of going with the flow. And for recording wise, it's just like inviting artists that we like, that we enjoy. We'll bring them on a few tracks. We've done that in a few albums. It tends to be a lot of rappers get invites to jump on and do a 16-bar verse, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's really, really cool.
Nice, man. Lovely. So when you're not writing, you're not producing, you're not remixing, and you're thinking, shit, I just want to sit back and listen to some music, who are your go-tos?
Oh, right. Probably 9 out of 10 times for myself, it'll be James Brown.
Oh, really? Godfather of
Aye. Live at the Apollo. It's just an album I can listen to a million times.
Is that the kind of music you were brought up on as well?
I'm not lying. No, I think, see, the more I was kind of getting into the hip hop scene, because you're digging at all these old records for samples and breaks and stuff, and Ibden the Planet has probably sampled James Brown at some point for a drum break or whatever. And the more I dug into his music, I just couldn't see by it. I just thought, to me, that was like the pinnacle. It's like, that one album, I could just keep putting it on and that's it. You know, whether it's a record, a cassette,
Yeah.
Spotify, it's always go to that album. Other than that, the other kind of stuff I definitely go to is likes of Nirvana. Again, just classic, absolute classic band. Can't see by them. You know, it's just a band of their time and they'll be about forever. You know, I really believe that. They're just phenomenal.
No, phenomenal talent. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So, are you going to be doing? Are you going to be doing So, Voldo is your kind of your main project, but are you still going to be doing your your remixing and kind of stuff for the Nigerian guy and for other artists?
I've actually I've got a track just now. I was working on it earlier. It's vocals. All the music's by myself, but the vocals are Bilin Raja. It was Lynn who'd mentioned yourself, and so from talking, I'd met up with Lynn summertime last year. I've spoke to her loads, but I've only ever met her the once down in London, and she's lovely. She's
super lovely,
fantastic.
absolutely, yeah.
Aye, and I know she's been getting into a lot of kind of production stuff, and she let me hear a few tracks she'd done a couple of years back, and she's got an absolute stunning voice. And I'd came across a track. It was intentionally it was a Voldo song, and we'd tried some stuff with it, and it was okay, but it wasn't fitting the vibe. But every time I listened back to the track, I thought Lynn's voice would suit that perfect. So I sent her the idea, and I says, take weeks, take months, whatever comes to mind, write it down. And I think at first she was a bit worried, just like, I've not wrote any lyrics for a while. 2 days later, my inbox lights up with a recording, and it was like, I said weeks, months, and 2 days later, and she had this absolutely fantastic idea, and I was like, right, I'll put that in it. We'll get a guide version of the song. I'll ping it back to you. We'll take it from there. And she's redone her vocals and sent them to us, and that's great. It'll be a different style as well for her as well. But again, she's just so nice. She's one of the people just instantly clicked, and just
she's a good
people
girl.
like that. I could work with them all day, So again, it's another it's not even a remix. It's more of a collaboration, if you like.
Yeah. Lovely, man.
So
and what is the future for that track? Is it going to be released on your album? Is she releasing it? What's going on with it?
I don't know yet. Honestly, we've not thought that far ahead with it. It's really it's that fresh. But I'm either way, songs that does get released, I'll be happy.
Yeah. Well, bloody tell me, because I want to know about it.
Aye, definitely.
That'd be amazing. So people can find you all over social media. You're pretty much on every single music download and streaming platform. You're on YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, although your Twitter is pretty much your main go-to, right?
Aye. That's where I'm mostly active. That's if anybody wants to get in touch with us, Twitter's the place.
Twitter's the place.
Aye.
So kids at home, this is where you'll find Nunny Boy. So go and check him out on all of his social medias. Go and check out his group Voldo as well. Just Google him. If you can't find him, just Google him and you'll find him. We've also got all of his links running throughout this whole interview at the bottom of the screen and on the credits at the end. So you can find Nunny in loads and loads of places. So I suggest you go and follow, show that brother some support and some love. Nunny, thank you so much for being on my show.
Thank you.
You're a gentleman and a scholar. And maybe in the future there'll be a Jaden Cornelius collaboration. That would be super cool.
Definitely.
We'll have to think something like that. Okay, Matt, and we'll catch up soon to talk about your new release. That would be super great.
Yep.
All right, everybody.
Man.
Thank you so much, man. Well, I am so pleased you got to meet Nunny. He's a super talented and smashing guy. And I'm not leaving you empty-handed. You're going away this week with a blankety-blank check. No. You're going to go away with another song produced by the amazing Nunny Boy. This is from an artist that he was talking about in Nigeria called Everyone, I think he was saying. This is called We Like to Party. I hope you have enjoyed the Jaden Show this week. Please come and find me on my social media platforms. Please comment, please like, please share, please subscribe, please tell everybody. And I will see you next week on the Jaden Show. Take care, stay beautiful. See you later.
saying?
We like to party.
We like to party, we like to rock our body, I'm saying?
Naughty, naughty.
Call me.
Everyone. We don't bother nobody.
Party, party, rock time. Forget your pain, dance like you don't care. It's a party, party, rock time. We gonna party through the night, yeah. Monday to Friday is a working day. The fight give us of our confidence. Depriving of our competence with the finger boss. I say my coordinates. I believe in God, I'm not hippie there. It's time to party, you see me there. Everybody has like people that we are caught up in our ways, we are history. Call all your friends and foes, let's go party. It's Saturday night, we gon' party till morning.
Naughty, naughty.
Saturday night, and we like to party.
Naughty, naughty.
Saturday night, and we like to party.
Naughty, naughty.
Saturday night, and we like to party.
Naughty, naughty.
Saturday night, and we like to party.
Yeah. I'm feeling alive and feeling the vibe, I feel I'm arriving. Said Low is too vocal, I can approach you, niggas be acting. Then I get to spazzing, no wonder he sat in the back of the classes. I'm black from a distance, I'm black on the blacklist, purpose and masses. Reading the fine per weight, don't know the weight, sign on the line with the date. Now I never get my control, a nigga too vocal, niggas too, yeah. Told you I just be spazzing, wipe me a Jasmine, told her we out, I'm Aladdin, yeah. I just my duck off the map and make music, need my soul on my master.
Naughty, naughty.
Saturday night, and we like to party.
Naughty, naughty.
Saturday night, and we like to party.
Naughty, naughty.
Saturday night, and we like to party.
Naughty, naughty.
Saturday night, and we like to party.
I used to stay to my own, now my mind in the zone. Ain't nobody ever home, I don't know where you from, but I know where you going to get your mind right. Too much hate in sight, we going out tonight. Me, myself and I, we're born ready to fight. So guard yourself, alright? Keep your mind right. There's evil all around, ready to take you down when least suspected. That's when red dots affected to put you in the ground.
Naughty, naughty.
Saturday night, and we like to party.
Naughty, naughty.
Saturday night, and we like to party.
Naughty, naughty.
Saturday night, and we like to party.
Naughty, naughty.
Saturday night, and we like to party.
I'm slick like Rick, something like a ruler. A street talking specialist, a verbal connoisseur. Their vibes with the best in them on any given day. And I'm just getting started, I ain't even going hard.